Hello, everybody. In this screencast, we're going to look at solving assessment number 3. Basically, it's a simple app where the user logs in, uses Firebase, so the Firebase authentication, and that part is already implemented for you, the Firebase authentication and so on. But the user logs in and they see a polls screen, and it shows the different polls that are available. They can create a new poll by clicking on add. It takes them there. The poll has a name and has a specific question. Like, for example, you could see here it has a question, and then you can add answers, and then when the user submits, these get stored and they should be appearing here, right? In addition, you could see that we want to track how many submissions, how many people completed the poll. So basically, if you click on a poll, it shows you the poll itself and you can answer the poll. Like, for example, what's your favorite programming language? You pick whatever language you like, and that adds you to the poll. Now, the interesting thing also is that users should only be allowed to answer the poll once. Okay. And then at the end, you would like to see how many people answered each specific answer, right? So basically, that's the main requirement. Do we need to know who answered what question? We don't. The requirements here is just the count of people who answered, picked different options. All right. So we know that we're going to use Firebase Firestore. Something to think about is, let's see how am I going to structure my data. Okay, so if we look at, let me make this a little bit smaller. If we look at it here, I'll bring in Sublime Text just to write. So for example, I know that there will be a polls. Make it a little bigger. A polls collection, and then under the polls collection, I know that I am going to create a poll. Let's say, for example, it has, let's say, poll 1, right? And then under it, I know that I'm going to add some parameters. One of them is, let's say, the name of the poll. And then this is the question, right? So here is that. And then similarly, I need, let's say, I could say who's the creator ID or creator ID. This is the user ID of the creator. So this is the question. So basically, the question is some kind of a string, okay? What is your favorite programming language? Okay, and then the name of the poll is, let's say, programming language, right? Language. And the creator ID is some kind of a creator ID. So this is the user ID, right? Some user ID that created the poll. And then similarly, I can, for example, have an array of answers. So for example, I can have an array of answers. So basically I can go here. I could say options or answers. And that's an array of what? So basically it's going to be an array of, let's say, the answer has a name. Okay, it has some kind of a name, like, say, for example, Java. All right. And then similarly, it has I can put an ID. I don't know if I need an ID for the time being or no. I can generate the ID because I'm the one generating them anyway when the user creates them. I can have an ID for it, but I'll wait to make that decision. I could also have votes. How many people voted? So basically when it starts, it votes as 0, right? For example, something like that. And I can copy that here. So I have one for Java, one for Swift. And one for other. And basically I could just say the votes is going to be, I just matched the figure that I have here just so that you could show you, and I'm able to track them. And then also I need to know who answered or maybe completed by, and this could be an array of user IDs. So you could have user 1, these are the IDs of the users. User 2, and so on, right? So if I do something like that, that's straightforward. Does it have enough information to display this information? Yes, I'm able to, for a poll, to retrieve the questions or the answers, and from these answers, I'm also able to make this a little bit smaller so that we can fit them both on the same screen. I'm able to show the answer and the value here. It's an array of answers. Okay, perfect. And then I have the question. That's good. So, and I need the name of the person who created the poll. So basically I need the creator ID, and I also need the creator name. Let's say this is Bob Smith or something. Okay. So basically I need the creator name, the creator ID, question, name, and these are my answers. All right. I can have IDs for the answers that are generated. I can do that. I can also have sort IDs if I need them to be sorted in a specific way. But anyway, that's probably the simplest way. And then using the completed by, I'm able to get all the IDs of the people who completed this poll. So then I could ensure that if somebody answered the poll, they don't have to answer it again. All right. So let's see how we will implement this. Now, what I need is to go to Firebase and enable the project. So basically I have it here, and I'm doing the iOS version of the project. So basically, let's say we go back here. I need the bundle ID because I know it will need the bundle ID. Here is that. Here's the bundle ID. To copy it, I go to signing capabilities and I copy the bundle ID from here. All right, good. So I have the bundle ID. Go back to Firebase, add an application. I'm adding an iOS app. Here's the bundle ID. Register the application. Okay. And then I'm going to download it. Okay, so I'm going to put it on the desktop so I can get that. Save it on the desktop. Next. And all this, the library information is already completed for you on the app that is provided. So basically that's stage one. Right? We'll come back to this in a little bit. But here we need to add the file that we just downloaded. So I need that file. So I need the file. So let me go get that file. Right. I'll get the file under my desktop, and let me bring the file to the project. I'll put it here under here and finish. So it's copied. Here's the file. And we're good. So basically I have the file added. Now what I need to do is go back to Firebase, make sure of a couple of things. One, I need to make sure that you have authentication enabled. So I have sign-in method, enable its email and password. Firestore, I already have a Firestore database. It has nothing inside it. All right, good. So now let me see if I can run the app. Does it work or no? Let's see. So I run the app now. Here's the app. And once it runs, I should be able to see the login screen. Here it is. Here it is. Let me create a new account. Okay, I'll create an account to Bob Smith b@b.com, and T123 is the password. Okay, just need a simple password to use here, and submit. And basically, I'm in. All right, good. So here it is. And the first part of the rubric, I think we have to build the create poll. Okay, very nice. So you create the poll. So let's go to create poll. View controllers, create poll view controller. And we added some entries for you. So if you look at the diagram a little bit again, you'll see that it has some text fields. And then there is a table, right? So basically there is a table view here that lists the answers, and the user should be able to delete the answers and so on. And if you look a little bit closely at the code, we already implemented a lot of things for you. So basically, let's see. This is add. So basically this is the add clicked, and the add clicked is when you click on the add. So when you click on this add button, it says empty, cannot be empty. Okay, good. So let me add another one. Let's say answer 4, right? And I click add, and it should add answer 4 here. All right. So now when you click on add, what I need to do is I will possibly need to add the answer. So basically I have the answer now. So basically I could do answers. You see here there is an array of answers. And if you scroll down a little bit, there is the table view data source and delegate, and we're using answers, and that's what we are displaying here. I already have the table for you, all the layout, everything is done. So now all what I do here, I do self.answers.add, self.answers.append the answer, and then notify dataset has reload the table. So basically this should take care of this adding, right? So basically if you go here, you will see that it takes care of the adding. So here we are. I click on add, type in an answer, and add another one, add another one, add another one. Good. So I'm able to add something just cosmetics. What I would do also is I would set the text for the answer after all of this to a to be equal to empty. So that just so basically after you add, just removes the answer just to indicate that you added it. So that's one. Okay, so basically we're adding answers. So here is adding. We add an answer, add another answer, add another answer, and they're being added. The deletion is very easy. If you look here, the bind function, you send an answer and a delegate, and it seems the delegate trickles all the way up to here. So I could do, this is how you remove them, right? So basically when you remove, you give me an answer, I'm going to remove it. So now I will remove it by text. So I will remove it based on the text because all I'm getting is just a string answer, right? So I'm just going to remove that answer by string. Okay, good. So I can do that. I can use the position if that's also something, but I'll use the text. So basically I just need to remove it. So basically I need to remove that answer from the list of answers. Okay, so basically I just need to remove that answer from the list. So what I need to do is remove the answer from the array of answers, right? So basically I need to find, let's say this is one way of doing business, or I can create a new list, a new array, right? And then use that array to populate only if it is. So basically what I could do is I could do a new array. So what I will do is I'll create a new array. So basically I'll do a var temp array is array of answers, and then I do for each answer in answers, and then if answer is not equal to answer, then append it to the array. All right, so I have that here, and then I do answers. Answers equal to temp. I can do something like that, or I could do answers.clear, right? I could do answers.clear, clear, or remove all. I think it's Java is the clear one. Remove all, and then answers.append the contents of them, right? So basically I can do something like that, and this is to delete, right? So basically, and then here you notify that the table has reloaded. So now run this again. Okay, so that's one way of doing business. It's straightforward. I can delete this way, or I can have IDs associated, or I can use the index if that makes life easier for you. So here it is. Here's that, and here's that, and I'll delete the first one, second one, third one, A, B, C, and I'm deleting A, B, C. Now, if you have multiple A's, this approach will delete all the A's and all the but anyhow, we can address that by having an ID, but this is not supposed to be that complicated, so you can pick whatever option you want to use. All right, so I'm deleting, I'm able to delete, I'm able to add. Now we'll just implement the submit. Now what I'm going to do is when I store it, I would like to store it to match the design we have here, right? So I have this design that we have here, and I want it to match that design. Okay, so how are we going to do that? So when you click submit, I'm going to match that design. So here's the design. Now we need to check to see if these fields are correct. So basically I need the name, let poll name equal to this, let call question equal to this, and then so I have the question and the name. Now I could check to see if answers dot is empty, then you do show an alert, right? I can also have here if name poll name, let's say poll name is empty, then show an alert. Okay, I could do else if the poll question is empty, show an alert, right? And then I could do another else if it's empty here, else if. So basically I'm just checking things as we go, and then else I'm ready to store. Okay, to store, what I'm going to do to store is straightforward also. So to store, I need to get Firebase database. So I'll do Firebase. I need to import Firebase database. Firebase is already imported for you. So if you go to the app delegate, you see we already added Firebase. We already added the libraries for Firebase for you. Everything is taken care of in the example project. So now I need the Firebase database. So I'll do let db equal to Firebase Firestore, Firebase Firestore, Firebase Firestore. Okay. It's called Firestore. All right, Firebase Firestore. If not, I can go and check. So basically, let me go and check in the back here, and I can go to the documentation, and it should show you. It's straightforward. Firebase documents, build, and we are using Firestore. Here it is. Okay, and we want get starting with the core mobile SDKs. We already did that. Manage data, and so on. So basically, this is the database. We are using iOS. Scroll down a little bit, and it should give you some kind of an example. And we're using Swift. All right. Here's that adding data. Here is it's called Firestore.firestore. Okay, good. So and you need to import these two. I'll do that right now. Okay. Okay, so we'll do this here, the imports, and it's back to the documentation. It says Firestore.firestore. Okay, cool. So this is the database. Firestore. We're done here. Okay, good. Then I need to store the data. So the data is var, let's say data equals string of any. So this is a dictionary. So basically we are going to create a dictionary to store this data, right? I can copy that from here, put it here so that I don't go back and forth. Right? So let me make the screen a little bit bigger so that you can focus on this screen. I put the comment here is the data, right? So now we want the data to be what? So basically data of the poll name is the poll name, okay? And then similarly the question, here's the call question. So I took care of these two, right? The user ID. In order to get the user ID, I need to get I need the authentication. Right, so basically I need the authentication, so I need to import Firebase auth, right? And then I need to do mauth to be equal to Firebase auth.auth, right? So that's that. So I can get Firebase is not a member. We already imported it. Firebase auth here. Firebase auth. Okay, it should be okay now. Has no member called auth. Let's see. All right, so will it work now? Let's see. If not, I can also go back to the documentation and figure it out. But anyway, I have the auth here, okay? Or I think you can use Firebase auth itself. So Firebase .auth. I think do they have that? Yeah. Or let's go back to what we were .auth. So that's the here, and then basically I can get the creator ID by saying creator ID is mauth.getCurrentUser.getUserID. We have that. And I can get the display name. So basically the user is display name. How do I know that? Because when the user is signing up, you ask them for their name, and if you look here, it's a display name, right? Anyhow, so I can get the display name of the user also. Now the answers, very nice. So I need an array to hold these answers, and it's an array, and that array is going to hold the dictionary of these values, right? Okay. So now let's do a completed by as an empty array, so I can do that. Data of completed by, and I just need an empty array, okay? Equal to an array of string. Okay, cool. So that's this. It's an empty array of string. Now I need an array to hold these answers. So I already have this answers array, right? So I can loop over them, and then I can create a dictionary. So I could go here, I can create an array. Yeah, and it's the answers data, right? And it's an array of dictionary, string any, right? And it's an array of dictionary, all right? Of dictionaries, right? So basically I can go here, I loop over for each answer in answers, right? What I will do is I will create the answer data, which is dictionary, right? And then you go here, you give it a name, right? And then basically you give it the number of votes to 0, and then you append it to the data, and then we're done. So basically what we're doing is we have this answers array, which is the dictionary, which ultimately should look something like this, right? It's an array of dictionaries, right? And then this is one dictionary, and it has the name, which is the name, and has the votes, which is the votes, right? And then basically after you are done with that, we could just say data answers to the answers data. So basically I did compile it to look very similar to this, right? And now I just have to store it. So basically, where do I store it? I'll do db dot collection. We called it polls, and then dot what dot document, right? Dot set data. Okay, I need one which has the completion handler. So basically, set data with completion. Right, here is that, and here is the data that we have, right? And this is the completion handler. Error, and then we check to see if let error equal to error. This means there is an error, else there is no error. And we can check to see what happened here. So we do a print here of the error, failed poll, and then here print created. Poll created successful. So we can do something like that. And let's try. So let's try to see what happens on the Firebase side also. So here we are, and here is this. We will come back to this in a little bit, but let's have a look at Firebase. Okay, so here it is. And if we look a little bit at the data, here it is. Create a poll. Let's, for example, let's say poll 1. Is it sunny? So is it sunny today? Yes. No. And I could say I don't know. Right, so and then submit. And we can look at the log to see what happened. What happened in the log, and it says successfully created. So let's have a look here. I refresh the page. And I have my polls. Here is a poll. Here's that. Here is the data. Okay, so we have the poll information, right? And here is the information. So basically we have everything that we need, right? Created by, completed by, we don't have anybody completed it, and we're done. So basically I have the information that I need to display. Cool. So then we are done with the submission. Now, what I need to do is I need to dismiss. So basically when it's done, I will just do a self.dismiss, right? So this will close the screen. If we go back here. Okay, and we create this. Go here. Let's say poll 2. How are you today? How are you? Good. Okay. Not good. Something like that. So here it is, and then we click submit. It adds, and we're done. Okay, good. So if we go back to this, you should see 2 polls. Here's one poll, and here's another poll. All right, good. So we got somewhere. So we are done with this part of the screen. Now we need to work on this part. All right, so this part already have most of the stuff already is done for you, but you see there is also the number of submissions, number of people who submitted. So basically number of people who submitted is just the size of the completed by, right? If you think about it. Now we need to get this data. We need to get it and format it in a way so that we could use it, right? Okay, cool. So this is which screen? This is the polls screen. There's the polls view controller. And I'll need to use the create poll. We already imported some stuff. I'm going to import the same stuff here. I know I'm going to need this to use Firebase, right? So here is the poll view controller, and here is that. And then basically we need to get the polls. So basically I need to set up the snapshot listener. So here is the database, and then db dot collection is polls, and then you add the snapshot listener. Add snapshot listener with, okay, here is that. Here's the snapshot listener. This is the snapshot, and then this is the error. All right, good. Error, okay, and here we could check to see if let error is equal to error, then there is an error, else there is no error. Else we are here. Now we can go and get the polls. So basically what I want to do is create the polls. Now if you look here, we already created for you a class called polls, but has nothing inside it, right? But I know for a fact that it should follow the same it would follow something like this. So basically, if I go back to that here, I know that it needs to follow this approach. So I'll keep things simple by maybe having a var name, right? And it's a string. Keep them like this. So you have a name, you have the question. Do I need the creator ID? Yeah, why not? Var the creator ID, the creator name. Okay, cool. And then I could have a var the answers. So basically I can do something like that. And basically I'm not going to do it like this. I'm going to say answers equal to, and I'm just going to initialize them. Okay. And then var completed by, which is things. Okay, good. So now this answer class doesn't exist yet. So I can create it. So I can go here, right click, new, new file from template, and I'm gonna just use a Swift file, and that's gonna be answer. All right, here's the answer file, and we're good. Okay, so here's the answer, and I know that the answer, I'll create a class called answer. I can do it like this, or what I could do, I could say that this is, I'll just use the same approach we did. So I'll delete this. I'm not gonna create an answer class, because what I'm going to do is I am going to reuse because you remember we used it as a string, a map of a string and any, right? I can do that. So it's an array of string and any, right? I can do something like that. And now I have to worry about how I'm going to parse. Okay, so basically in the init, you're going to send me the snapshot listener. I need snapshot, and this is the query. I need to import Firebase Firestore, and I need the query. How do I know? If I go back to the polls view controller, there is a snapshot. See that? And then the snapshot for each, I need document in the documents, and that document is, see, if you do snapshot.document, so if you do snapshot.documents, you see here it's a query document snapshot, right? So basically I can pass it to the poll as a query document snapshot. Okay, here's that. That's in the init. Okay, and also I can have an empty constructor just for the sake of init. Actually, the empty constructor is already there. So here it is, we have that, and then basically I can go in and say self.name equal to snapshot as a string. So here is that, and similarly the question, right? And then the creator ID, the creator name, self.creator name, right? Okay, and so I already got we already got them all for the answers, right? I can try to cast the answers this way. I can do that. And similarly, I can try to cast the completed by this way, right? I will see if this works. If it works, it's fine. Otherwise, I'll show you how to do it. We can loop and so on. We can do some looping to get things done. So now I am able to get the poll, right? So the polls view controller, I am here. And now I could go in and get the polls. So basically, I could go in and say, let document data, and then no, I don't want the data. So basically I'm going to say poll equal to poll document, and then I append it. And then when I'm done, I just say table view dot reload the data. Right? So I can do something like that. I probably need a self here. Table view, reload the data. So we can do something like that, you know, and maybe when this is here, I can do a small print here, and then I can click on the put a breakpoint to see if I'm able to get any data. So let's see. And if the data is populating correctly, right? If it doesn't, then I'll have to go and write specific code to extract this data. We'll see. So here we are. And then if you look, this is self, polls. Here's the first poll. Here's the name, question, creator ID, right? And then here are my answers. You see here, it's a dictionary. Here's the key, and here's the value. So it seems that it is working, right? I'm able to complete it by also, it has 0 values, nobody completed anything. So I'm able to retrieve them, right? Okay, good. So I'm able to do this. So basically now what I could do is I could go and do stuff here. So basically I have the poll, right? So I could go ahead and do what? I can have the cell dot label, what label? Name label dot text equal to poll dot name, and then cell dot creator dot label, another label. Let's see what other labels are there. Label owner name dot text equal to created by, right? So we can do something like that. Or I could just say unknown. I don't need to have all of that stuff here. Okay. And then cell dot label, and then this is the submission dot text, and this is basically submission count. So basically this is the count based on the submission. So I can do something like this. This is submission, right? So if we go back here, you see it's submissions. Okay, good. So basically I'll have submissions here, and this is completed by. So basically I go here and we do this, and it's poll dot completed by dot count. You see here. So let's see if this works. All right, so here we are. When it runs, okay, here we are, and it didn't break. Good. So we got poll 1, poll 2, and the submissions. Okay, I can manipulate this and see if I go. Let's say if I go in here and add a user. Let's say I'm adding something here. Add. And it is refreshing, because you have to be careful. Every time you make a change, this method gets called. So before you adapt anything, you have to remove all from the polls. Otherwise, it's going to replicate, keep the old ones, right? So basically, you see here, it kept the old one, even if there is one submission here, right? So now, if we run this again, let's see. Okay, and now it should show one submission here. I can add another one. All right, here we are. So you see here is one submission. Now if I click on add another one, let's say we add another one here, 2 submissions, 3 submissions. You see, and you can even remove submissions if that's the case. So we're able to do that. So good. So we're able to do this part. You see, the wiring is very straightforward. You just build it and figure out what you're trying to do. Okay. Now when you click, we want to pass that. We want to pass it all the way to the next step, right? But then in order to pass it, you could see that I need, I'm going to update it. So I need the ID of the poll. So basically I need to store the ID also. I prefer to store the ID here and retrieve it. So I will do that. So let's say when we're creating the poll, where is that here? So create poll. And this is where we're doing this here, right? So I'm going to copy this stuff from here. And I'm going to create a reference, right? So I'm going to say let docref equals to, this is the reference. And I'm going to use that document reference here. Document reference. And then I can store the document ID. So basically I can do data.document ID, data.document ID with document reference document ID. So that would store the document ID. I'd like to store it here, doc ID. That would store it in the data. So basically I'll go here and delete everything, delete the collection. Okay, and this is called polls. Here's that. I deleted it, and then we run it again. And now we'll be storing the document ID. And I need the document ID because if I'm going to manipulate things further on the line, I need the document ID to be passed on in the object. So it's called document ID. So I can also update it to have document ID in the object. So I'm going to go here. I can create var document ID string. Okay. And then similarly do the same thing here. Self.document ID. Document ID equals to you can get it from the snapshot listener, or I like to get it from the document just for the sake of, but you can get it from the snapshot, I know, but I like to store it in the document itself. Here it is. Let's say is it sunny poll, is it sunny today? Yes, you have yes, and you have no, and you have I don't know. No, right? So here's that. I click submit, and you have your poll, and here's the poll. All right, good. So now when you click on the poll in the Pulse V controller, we want to go to the next screen. Okay, good. So we need to prepare for segue. Let's have a look at the layout and see if there is a segue already created for us. Yes, there is a segue created for you, and you just need to give it a name and prepare for that segue. Okay, so here we are, creating a new account. This is the Pulse. Okay, this is create. I don't know what this is. This is what create poll. This is done already. You have two ones, and then there is answer poll and poll result. So we're going to answer poll. So this one is the segue for answer poll. The identifier is answer poll segue. And this one I'm going to call it what? This one is the other one, which is poll result. This is the poll result segue. Okay, go here and copy the poll. Copy the name of the segue. Okay, I did that. I go back again to the Pulse V controller, and I need to prepare for segue. Okay. Prepare for segue. Okay, if segue.identifier equal to this, and then this is the name of the segue. And now, when the user clicks, I need to figure out what to do. So basically, when the user clicks, did click on the stats. I'm gonna worry about that in a little bit, but then here, this is when the user clicks on the cell. So when the user clicks on the cell, so basically I need to add this method, which is table view did select row at. Here's that. Okay, so basically you selected that row, and now for me, I need to, from that selection, I need to trigger a segue. So perform segue with identifier. This is the segue that I want to perform, and self, right? So now we are here. Now we can go back here and say, go back to, we are going to answer poll. So it is the answer poll view controller, add a poll, var poll, this poll, right? So that we need to assign that. Okay, here we are. And then we could say let vc equals to segue destination as answer poll view controller. That's perfect. And then we need the poll, right? So basically we can say let poll equals to yes, something like that. We can do this. Index of selected row, and then the row, and we get it from the poll. vc.poll equal to poll, and we're done. So then we are passing on the poll to the next screen. Okay. All right. So that's one approach, right? That's one way of doing business. We can also have a var here. We could call it selected poll, right? And here it is. And then basically what we do is when you click, we can go in and say selected poll self.selected poll equals by index path, right? And then also we can unselect. So basically we could say table view dot deselect row at index path. So we have stored it here, and we triggered the we can do this here and here also, right here. And then we perform the segue. When the segue comes, we can instead of doing it this way, we can just say vc equal to self.selected poll, and then we could say self.selected poll equal to null. Yeah, we don't need it anymore. We passed the value here, and we're done. Why this is interesting? Because we will use it when you want to go to the stats. We'll use the same approach, right? So because the stats, you go to the results. We'll use the very similar approach. So anyway, so we go to the poll answer poll screen. And then the answer poll screen is very skinny. We didn't implement a lot of things for you, right? So basically, if you look at the layout should have a table, right? There is a table, and there is also a table here. So let's do it. It's straightforward. It shouldn't be that difficult. Okay. So if I look at the views, there is a view for the answer, right? So this is the answer cell. Looks something like this, right? There is no trash can. That's possibly what I'm going to use. You see, there is another one where for the add, it had the trash can, right? I'll use the answer cell. All right, good. So here's the answer cell. I need to Cool. So, so this is the answer poll view. Here it is, and you already have a table view. Good. So let's do table view. Register it. Table view dot register, right? And we want to register this one. Okay. This is the one I'm interested in. This is the one I'm interested in. Okay, good. So now we go extension. All right, and then here we are, and then there is poll dot answers.count. So basically it has some kind of an answers.count. This is so basically what I'm going to do is that poll already has a list of answers. Right? It has a list of answers. Now, what I could also do is to limit the user who already answered the poll from going somewhere. What I could do is I could, before I do the segueing here, I could check to see mauth. So I need the authenticator. I need the ID of the currently logged in user. So basically, I need the ID of the currently logged in user, right? So I need Firebase auth. Okay, auth. Okay, and then current. I think here is a value called current user dot uid. Okay, so I can do something like this. I could say so I can do something like that. I'm gonna do that only if it's I'll deselect. So this one, okay, let me copy the code from here, paste it here, cut that here, put it here. Okay, so now I am able to get the poll. Okay, actually this stuff also I can do with outside. Okay, now I need to check to see if poll, I need the poll. So basically I already got the selected poll, right? So I could do if self dot selected poll dot completed by, right, dot includes. I need to see if it includes that user, right? So dot includes the user. So I need to check to see contains. Is there? Yes, contains. Not another collection. So contains, and then I need to add here a user. So basically contains. All right. If it contains the UID, okay. I need an if here. If does not contain the UID, then you segue, okay. Otherwise, you show an alert message. Else, see here, else you show a message indicating that you show alert. I can do something like that. We might need to fix something here if it contains. Okay. Okay, cool. So now let's try and see if this works. We go, but I don't think we should try to see if it works yet, but we need to answer the poll. So basically to answer the poll here, we need to go in and get the cell. Okay, and then we return cell, here it is. And then now what we're going to do is we need the answers. The problem is that these answers are a dictionary, right? Okay, so I need from that dictionary to extract only the keys, right? Because the keys are the questions. If you go back to Firebase, you'll see that the keys are the questions, right? So if we go back here, you see the refresh. Here's the polls. You see here and here the keys. The answers has these dictionaries, right? And inside the dictionary, the name has the name of the item, right? So basically, I need to go and dig deeper a little bit in these dictionaries, right? Good. So if we go back to the answer poll, now I could go get the answer. Let answer equal to poll.answers index to index path. So we have that. And now it's not done this way. It's answer of name. See that? So basically it is a name. So you apply that. So basically answer is this, and maybe I can unwrap it here, right? So I don't have to unwrap it here, right? So basically the answer has a name, you see here, and then that's the name that we're interested in. And then unable to wrap. Okay, we did that. The problem is this one is the one that needs to be unwrapped. Let's see. Okay, cool. So that's the name. So basically, if we did this, we should be able to see the question and the name. So if we run this, let's see. Here we are. And then we should be able to see. Here's this. I pick this one. Take me here. Yes, no, I don't know. Perfect. So we have them. Now I just need to show the name at the top. It's easy. To show the name at the top is self.poll name label dot text equal to this, and then similarly self dot question label equal to question. So we run this again, and you should be able to see the question and the name at the top. Here it is. And I click here. It says sunny Paul. Is it sunny today? And you can pick. All right, that's great. So now when the user clicks, I need to figure out something. So you could say table view did select at row index path, and then here we get the cell. So basically, in order to get the poll, same story. This is the answer that the user is picking. Now, what I want to do is I want to update it, right? So I want to update this whole system with I want to update first the answer, right? So basically, what I will do is I'll go in and say answer of vote, right? We could votes, okay, equal to answer of votes plus 1, right? So that's this. And so that's the answer of votes, right? So that's the answer. So I can go in, and this guy is unwrapped here, and similarly here. Okay. So I did that here. So I have the votes for that answer. Perfect. So I have that here. I have the answer. Okay, here's that. Votes answer equal to this. And now what I could do is I already updated it. So now I could I want to print here what happens, print the poll. Or let's have a look at the print here and see what happened to the poll. Print, let's say here, and see what happens to the poll, right? So I'll put a breakpoint, and let's see what happens when you update it. So I updated the votes, right? Let's see. Okay, we click here. Very nice. I click on yes, and the breakpoint happens. I want to see yes bumped up by 1. So here is self, and here is the poll, and under the poll there are some answers, and the first answer is yes. I think so. Is it yes? Yes. Votes. Okay. And yes. Okay. And this is the key. The value is 0 still, right? Even though I bumped it up. Now, okay, here's the answer. It's 1. See, the value here is 1. This is the one we updated. So we probably have to replace the value. It didn't change inside the poll itself. You see, the poll values are not have not changed. Okay, this one, all of them are zeros. Oh, I don't know is also okay. The values are all zeros. So this is the value. If I click on it, does it show me the value inside it? No, it's zero. Okay. So it's not being reflected in the data, right? So I need to be able to do that. Okay. So we'll see how, right? So I did change the vote to be this value, right? So okay. 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 But you could see that we are able to arrive to the answer. That answer is this one, right? Now, what I would like to do is create a whole new set of answers, right? And update the one that I have and then send it to the system, right? So what I'm going to do is I am going to do the following. I will say var answers equal to, it's an array, it's a dictionary. Okay, here is that. The array of dictionaries, right? And I'll just go. But the problem is that I need to identify the one that they picked. So basically, I identify it by index. Yeah, I can identify it by index, and that would make it easier. So I'll copy everything except I can copy it. So basically, I could say answers. Okay, here it is. Answers dot append contents of this guy. So this is the contents of the all the answers, right? And then the one that I want to change is here. I got the answer that was picked. I have the answer right here, and then basically I could say answers of index path equal to answer. Of index path equal to answer to store the answer that we created. So basically here I just made a copy of the one that we have. I added it here, and then I incremented it by one, and then I inserted it back into the list here. All right, so now I have it. So now I can go and store it in the database. So I say let db firebase dot. I need the Firebase database, so I'll go back and get it. Where did I do that? Create poll. I had it in there. I'm gonna copy it. I'm just technically going to copy this code. I'm gonna come back to it, but copy this code, and I go back here, and I'm gonna paste this code here. I need to import the Firestore and all that interesting stuff. So I need this stuff here. Answer the poll. And here's answer the poll. Scroll down a little bit. So I have the database. I have auth because I need to add data. Now, this is data that we are going to store. I'm not going to change the poll name, the creator ID, the creator name. All of that stuff is not going to be there. Here's this. Similarly, I created the answers already. Okay, it's the answers array. So basically, I'm going to say that the answers array equals to answers. So that's what I'm going to store here. Right. So this is the first one that I'm going to update, and then I need to add the name of the person into completed by. Right. So basically, completed by, and what I'm going to do is completed by equals to. I am going to create an array of var. This is the completed by array. Completed by equal to a string array, and then completed by equals to dot append contents of completed by, and then completed by append the user ID. So we have the authenticator. We just get the user ID and we store the user ID. Okay. And then completed by becomes this completed by. Right? Here's that simple. So I have the data only changing this and this. And then technically now I need from the document, I need the poll self.poll dot document ID. So I need that as a document ID. This is the document reference now. And technically I don't need the document reference. I can just use it. document ID dot update. See, there's update data with completion. Here's update data, and this is the data you want to update. And then technically here, this is the error. And then you say if let error is equal to error, and then we show an error, else we probably have to dismiss. We need to go back, right? So we need to go back, right? Navigate back. We'll check back later, but we'll come back to this. All right, so let's run it and see. self.poll.no, it's not this one. self.poll.document ID. All right, let's see now. Okay, it's not happy for some reason. I think it has number called document ID. I need another bracket. Okay. So now what's happening is we're just updating. You see here, we are updating the document with only completed by and answers, right? So, okay, here we are. We go here. I click on yes. And now if we go back to the database, it's completed by has my ID, and the votes of this guy is now 1. Now, if we go back and let's say we click on it again, it will say you cannot answer because your name is already in the poll. You already answered the poll. So it took care of that already, right? And, okay, cool. So that's this. And then, yeah, we already incremented. We did all of that stuff here. And let's look at the votes. Did the votes go up by 1? Let's see. Yes, they went up by 1. All right, good. So that's this one. If we delete your name from here, let's say we delete this name from here, deleted. Okay, so now if I click on it, it lets me go in, and I click on no. Now the no went up by 1. You see here? Now the no went up by 1. Okay, so let me delete your name again, delete it again. All right, we go back, click here, and then I'll make yes. The yes now is bumped up by 1. All right, good. We are just testing, right? So that's this. Okay, good. Now I was able to update and do things. Now I need to go back. Now, if you look at the layout's a little bit different. This one is there is a back button here. You see this back button? It uses the navigation controller, so it pushes this guy onto the stack. So to go back, we don't dismiss. We need to pop, right? So we need to pop that back stack. So if we go here, I need to go back. So basically, you get self navigation controller.pop, right? So that's basically what we're going to do, and it will take you back. Dismiss will actually do nothing in this case, but here it is. It's not letting me go. Let me remove myself from the users who answered it. Okay, click on it again, click on yes, and I go back. Click on it again. It's not gonna let me because I already answered that poll. All right, good. So that's this. Now the other option is to now do the other one is the poll results. The last part, very easy. Also, it uses the same approach that we have here. So I can copy this stuff from here, and then the poll results is here. I can paste it, and I'll do the registration and all that interesting stuff. But I'm just copying it because it's exactly the same. You know, the skins look very similar, and they even have the same names here. And I'm going to register stuff here. There's that. I don't need this now. Okay, and I need this view controller here to be here. All right, and then I think it's going to be happy. Okay, and we need the poll variable. So if you look at answer poll, we added a poll variable at the top. I need that poll variable. So this is the poll results. I need the poll variable. Okay, good. So everything looks very similar, right? But because you see the screen looks very similar, but it just has a different layout. So I'm going to go and get that layout. The layout has a number in it. So if we go here, stats, this is the layout. It's called stats. Okay, very nice. So I'm going to copy that here. I go back to again to results, and instead of answers, I'm going to post the stats, and stats. All right. It should look the same. Actually, it's not gonna. There is no clicking, so I don't need this function, right? So there's no clicking on the cell, and it should look the same. So basically now I just need to make sure that when we're going there, we are sending it to the polls view controller. As you click on the polls, you have the poll here. So all what I need to do is self.selected poll equal to poll, right? And then similarly, I just perform segue, right? I need to perform the segue like I did here, right? And I need the segue ID, so let me go back again here. And we're talking about this segue. We called it poll segue result segue. Go back to polls. And we're going to perform this segue here. And then we need else if segue.identifier equal to this, right? So basically it's this segue. We'll do the same thing. We'll do the exact same thing here, but instead of answer poll, it is the dot answer poll. It is poll results we control, right? So basically we're sending in the data, and let's see. Here it is. If you click on the image, we just if we click on the image, here's that. It takes us here, right? And basically you don't need to click on anything, right? Basically we need to display this number. That number is the vote value, right? It's the vote value. And basically if we go to the poll results, if you go here, cell dot label, what is it called? Label, count label dot text equal to, and this is answer vote, right? It's called votes. We called it votes. How do I know? We call it votes here. See? Now we run it and see. And then we will show the votes, and that's it. It's exactly the same setup, but it just displays the votes. Here it is. You cannot submit, but you click here, it takes you here, it shows you 3, 1, and 0. Okay. Click on it, 3, 1, and 0. Perfect. So that's the app. It's straightforward. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much.